Hi guys, it's France. Welcome to Journal on Monday, week 115. I'm starting in a brand new journal today, and the first thing I'm doing is punching out a circle that I want to use as a mask. So I'm gluing it down using glue dots so that I can take it away easily once done. And now I can go in with my first layer, which is Radiant Rain from Color Art, and these are the dauber versions. So I'm applying two colors randomly and then blending them using some water. As I really want to keep it soft, I'm taking some of the ink away and then heat setting the rest, which will make it permanent as it is acrylic based. Now I want to go in with my white crackle texture paste from Finalizing, and this is why my circle, my little mask, comes in handy, because I need a flat surface to glue on in the end. So yes, this time I do know what it is I want to do, which is a rare thing when I'm art journaling. And I'm not trying to apply the texture paste in a regular flat layer. And now I can take my little mask away. I have to leave this to dry, so meanwhile I'm preparing my plaster strip. I colorized some water using primary elements, which are pigments. And now I can use those to colorize my plaster strip. Again, leaving it aside to dry and preparing another element I want to add. And this is just a piece of watercolor paper that I punched out, and I'm using the Radiant Gel, which is a dimensional paint, to add the color that I want to add. I want to make it look like metal, like rusted metal, so I need something that is a bit dimensional and not just a flat color. And if you want to know which colors I've been using, you'll find a complete list of ingredients on my blog, and the link to my blog is in the description of the video. Adding some silks, which is an acrylic glaze, again to accentuate the metal looking effect on the paper. And this time I'm just applying a very tiny bit in the creases of the Radiant Gel. As it still isn't dried, I'm going with the heat gun because I ran out of patience. And you can see the cracks appearing just as I'm heating it. Meanwhile, my plaster strip is dried as well, so I can resize it and give it the shape I want it to have. I'm preparing my wording that I want to add using Mixed Media Inks chalks from Donna Salazar. I'm stamping one of my Stampatique stamps on a scrap of paper before resizing it. As the white border was still visible, I added some of the gel on the back side of the tab as well. And now I can add the double-sided tape to put it in place in my journal. I wanted to add some more fabric to it, and of course I had to add some cambric. Using again the diluted primary elements, and then I'm putting everything in place in my journal. I want to accentuate the cracks in the texture paste, so first I'm adding white oil pastel that I'm pushing into the creases using my finger. And then I'm doing the same thing with the blue oil pastel, starting very carefully on the edges because I wasn't sure how much blue I wanted to add to my background. But you'll see further on that I wanted more, that I needed more, so I went back in a bit more frankly. I know that I want to sew the plaster strip and cambric in place, but I need something to hold it in place while sewing, so I'm using a very tiny strip of double-sided tape. And now I can run everything through my sewing machine. So once it's sewed, I went back in with the blue a bit more frankly. I'm adding some shading on the edges using Mixed Media Inks Chalks, which is the permanent version of Donna's inks, and keeping it soft using a piece of kitchen towel to blend it in. And doing the same on the text, on the wording. I have some Art Basic Soft Matte Gel from Fin in my little precision bottle. And as I had too much rust crumbs on my piece of metal, I had to wipe it off first. And as you can see, I'm using that same soft matte gel just to glue everything down, and trust me, it will stay in place. And I'm gluing the text as well. I wanted to add some eyelets randomly. And these have been thoroughly rusted, of course, just like all the metal that I'm using. And I'm wiping my blending tool with whatever ink is left over on there, on the paper. I wanted to add some details to the wording, so I'm using one of my new stamps, which is the Design Cube 2, and it has some very fine cracks on it. Now I wanted to add a detail to the page that wasn't on the page. So I'm making a mini tiny book. So first I'm preparing my paper, which will be the signatures inside the book. Now folding each strip in half, which is now each one a page. I'm assembling the signatures. And I did some more once I did this because I decided I didn't have enough. I'm keeping everything together so that I can measure how big my cover should be. And just in the same paper, I'm cutting out a piece that I will use as a cover. Now I placed the folder on the Fiskar on the trimmer so that I can fold the cover and that it comes neatly around the signatures. And I'm giving it the same treatment as I used for the tab, so that the several elements work together. But I'm keeping the layer a tiny bit thinner because I want to add something else as well. Quickly drying it and then going in with the same silks as I used for the tab. First the black one and then the blue one. I need this to be really dry before I go in with the embossing ink, otherwise I will have powder sticking everywhere. So just adding some embossing ink on the edges, on the corners, and then applying the Distress embossing powder. As I still have too much, I'm using a soft paintbrush to take the excess away. And then melting it. I want to add this mini eyelet, but it was too shiny and blue, so I had to take some sanding paper over it, and now I can put it in place. Adding some ink on the edges. And now I need to, oh, this is for Yvette. Yvette, if you're watching, hi girl. This is a piece of foam. Well, it's not really foam, it's felt. It's felt, which I actually stole from my kids. Please don't tell them. From when they were small, you know, it's those drawings they can punch out using a pointy tool. And this is the foam, the felt, I'm sorry, they have to place underneath. That's what I'm using to punch my holes, to avoid punching in my craft sheet. So I made holes in the spine of the cover so that now I can sew in the signatures. And I'm not doing anything really fancy. This is just such a tiny little book that I don't need it to be anything fancy. It's just in on one side, back in on the other, and then a little knot to keep it in place. And there's the knot. Voila, I have my teeny tiny book. And I also know what I want to do with my little book, so. I wanted to add a little strip to keep the book closed when not used. So this is what I'm doing now. And then adding some color as well to make it work with the rest. So first I'm distressing the edges with inks. Media inks, mixed media inks. This is Chuck's version again, permanent one. And this is another one of my new Stampetique stamps. This is the vintage bill, which I'm using to stamp on that tiny mini strip. And then just using some double-sided tape, I will close it so that it can be used as a ring around the little book. Now it needs a chain to stay with the book. So first I'm opening my jump rings and then taking a piece of chain, which has been rusted, of course. And to make sure the paper won't rip, I'm adding an eyelet over here as well. So the book is part of the page, but it will be on the outside of the book. So I'm placing the chain around the page through the eyelet and then closing it using a jump ring. And once the chain is measured, I can cut it and attach it to the mini book using a jump ring as well. That's it for today. I hope you liked today's video. I know it's been a while, I'm sorry guys. Don't forget to hit the like button if you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Both are very much appreciated. And see you back next time. Ta-da!